Good morning, everyone. We want to welcome you all to Reading 365 this morning. We are joined today with Jeff and Mary, and they will be sharing some scary stories with you all this morning. So hold on tight. First, Jeff will go and he will share stories. Jeff has been reading with us for a lot of years. I remember the name. And he's an actuary with Conrad Siegel. He's heavily involved in the community, volunteers a lot. He's been on the Boys and Girls Club. He's coached baseball, and also been on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. Want to welcome Jeff. And Jeff, you want to share with us what you have to share and read with us, please?
Okay, thanks a lot. I have Arthur's Halloween. Obviously, tomorrow's Halloween, so we're in the Halloween season. So I was going to read this. Hopefully, this won't be too scary. So Arthur's Halloween. It was the night before Halloween. Arthur's family was busy making the house look spooky. It looked so spooky, in fact, that Arthur had trouble falling asleep. Things were even worse the next morning. "Help!" screamed Arthur when he opened his eyes. "It's just me," said his sister D.W. "Boy, are you jumpy. Don't forget, you have to take me trick-or-treating tonight." "Do I really have to?" asked Arthur as he ate his cereal. "You really do," said his mother. "And I want to go to every house," said D.W. Arthur groaned. "I'll be the only one who has to drag his baby sister along." Arthur didn't recognize anyone at school. There was a giant robot in his classroom taking attendance. "You sound just like my teacher, Mr. Marco," said Arthur. "I am your teacher," said the robot. The only one Arthur recognized was the brain. He was wrapped in aluminum foil. "I'm a baked potato," said the brain. Francine passed out special morning snacks. "Eat these," she said. "They're bat-wing brownies and vampire blood." Everyone ate them, but Arthur. Then they all put on blindfolds. Buster passed around bowls he said were filled with human eyeballs, hearts, and brains. Arthur turned pale. When it was his turn, he wouldn't even touch them. "What a scaredy cat," said Francine. "Chicken," said Muffy. "They're only peeled grapes, Jell-O, and cold spaghetti." When it came time to go trick-or-treating, Buster knew which houses to skip. "Don't go there," he said. "They only give apples." "Gross," said Francine. "And don't go to the big house on the corner," said Buster. "That's the witch's house. My brother saw someone go in there last Halloween, and he never came out." Arthur tried not to look afraid. Arthur and his sister had trouble keeping up with the others. First, D.W. got her tail caught. Then her bag broke. "You're such a pain in the neck," said Arthur. D.W. must be short for dim-wit. But D.W. didn't answer. Arthur turned around just in time to see her disappear into the witch's house. Arthur's hands turned ice cold and his heart began to race. He walked up to the spooky old house. The front door was open just a crack. Slowly, Arthur went inside. "Look," cried Buster. "Arthur just went into the witch's house." "She'll probably put Arthur and D.W. into her oven, just like Hansel and Gretel," said Sue Ellen. "Maybe she's using them for weird scientific experiments," said the brain. "I'll bet she locked them in the cellar to starve," said Buster. Maybe we should follow him, said Francine. Maybe we should call the police, said Muffy. Everyone was too scared to move. Inside the house, it was very cold. Arthur thought he saw ghosts all around him. He walked down a long, dark hall. At the end, he saw a light under a door. He heard voices. One was his sister's. Oh, there you are, said the witch. We were waiting for you. I came to get my sister. We have to go. I hear my mother calling us, said Arthur. I don't hear anything, said DW. My name is Mrs. Tibble. I hope you won't leave without some cider and donuts first. They're chocolate, your favorite, said DW. I've waited all night for trick-or-treaters, but you're the only ones, said Mrs. Tibble. Years ago, our doorbell never stopped ringing. Maybe it's broken like the windows, said DW. Mrs. Tibble nodded. It is harder for me to keep up with this big place these days. Maybe if we help you fix up your yard, the place won't look so spooky, said Arthur. Arthur finished his donuts as Mrs. Tibble opened the door and turned on the porch light. She gave Arthur and DW a big hug. See you Saturday to rake leaves, said Arthur. You're still alive, said Francine. I can't believe you went in there alone, said the brain. You are so brave, said Sue Ellen. What's in the bag, asked Buster. Probably eyeballs, hearts, and brains, said Francine. It's easy to find out, said Arthur. Just close your eyes and reach in unless you're too scared. We've been to every house now. Can we take the shortcut home through the cemetery? Asked DW. The cemetery on Halloween? Are you guys crazy? Asked Francine. Follow me, said Arthur as he marched ahead. The cemetery is a great place. People are just dying to get in. The end.
What a wonderful joke to end the book. Fantastic. Fantastic book. We're going to talk about it a little bit later here. Just a lot of stuff that I wanted to point out in the book. But next, we're going to hear from Mary. And Mary works for UPMC Pinnacle. And she actually was a teacher for 10 years. And she works at UPMC Pinnacle. And she works with children, nutrition and helping them in many different ways. Are you there, Mary? Can you start your video, please?
I did start it. I'm frozen.
Okay. All right.
There we are.
Awesome.
There
awesome.
we are.
Fantastic. Thank you. And so, Mary, why don't you share with the audience what you have to read there?
So I'm going to read to you a book that is a little different twist on scary stuff. I know Halloween can be very frightening for some, but this little guy in my book needs his monster. And the book is titled, I Need My Monster. It's written by Amanda Knoll. Tonight, when I looked under the bed for my monster, I found this note. Gone fishing. Back in a week. Gabe. What was I going to do? I needed a monster under my bed. How was I supposed to get to sleep if my monster was gone? I tried to sleep. But it wasn't the same without Gabe. I missed his ragged breathing, his nose whistling, the scrabbling of his uncut claws. How would I ever get to sleep without Gabe's familiar, scary noises and his spooky green ooze? It was no use. Gabe would be gone for a week, and I just had to have a monster. I climbed quietly out of bed so my parents wouldn't hear me. Grown-ups have some strange idea about monsters under beds. I knocked on the floorboards, then scrambled back under my covers and waited nervously. Would a new monster appear? What would he look like? Would his snorting be as cheerful as Gabe's? When I heard some creaking under my bed, I knew that a substitute monster had arrived. "Good evening," said a low, breathy voice. "My name is Herbert, and I will be your monster for the evening." Herbert, what kind of name is that for a monster? You don't sound scary at all. Have you ever scared a kid before? Well, no, but I have read all about the best books on the topic. Do you have long teeth and scratchy claws? I asked. No, but I have an overbite and I'm a mouth breather. Listen. Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw. Herbert's panting was kind of scary, but it wasn't enough for me. Listen, Herbert, I'm sorry. I just don't think this is going to work. It's nothing personal, but I really need a monster with claws. Picky, picky, Herbert complained. As you wish, I'll go. There was some more creaking, then Herbert was gone. Some scratching warned me that a second monster had appeared. "Good evening," said the high, silky voice. "My name is Rolf. I understand you need a monster with claws. If you would please lean over, I will hold out my arm for inspection." I crouched on the edge of the bed, hoping to see a horribly shaggy arm with sharp, ragged nails. Instead, I was surprised to see a sleeky, brushed fur with smooth, shiny claws. "Excuse me, I don't mean to be rude," I asked, "but is that nail polish on your claws?" "Yes, it is," Rolf replied. "I believe professional monsters should always be well groomed." I could tell that this was not going to work either. "I'm sorry to disappoint you, Rolf, but I need a monster with scary claws, like Gabe's," I thought. I heard some more scratching and I knew Rolf was gone. A minute later, a third voice from under the bed rasped, "Check out these claws, kid." I gathered my courage and peered over the edge. The claws were impressive, jagged and dark and razor sharp. So far, so good. I was a little nervous. "Could you stick out your tail?" I whispered. "Sure, but don't get scared." I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of the bed. That's when I noticed a bow. "Are you a girl monster?" "Of course I am," she snapped. "I'm Cynthia. have a problem with that? Yeah, I do, I admitted. I definitely need a boy monster. Boy monsters are for boys and girl monsters are for girls. Everybody knows that. Well, aren't you a picky one? She sniffed, and then she was gone. Was I being too picky? No. I knew that my monster needed to be well-clawed and menacing. The whole point of having a monster, after all, was keeping me in bed, imagining all the scary stuff that could happen if I got out. Then I heard a shuffling noise and some slobbering. A fourth monster was under my bed. Hey! The name's Mac. One look at its claws proved that Mac was big. Scruffy boy monster. I shivered. Maybe this one would work out. Those are excellent claws, but do you have a long tail? I leaned over to see. No, my tail is stumpy, Mac slurped. But I do have an unusually long tongue. Why would I be afraid of a long tongue? I asked. Oh, I don't know, he said, trying to sound terrifying. You never know when I might lick you. I fell back on the bed, laughing. Well, if you're not even going to try to work with me, Mac whined. I held my giggles. I really don't think you should send me away, he warned. Kids who reject 5 monsters in one night. I did not reject 5 monsters tonight, I interrupted. My regular monster went fishing. Fishing, eh? Maybe he just left because you're so picky. Fine, I'm out of here. But I wouldn't expect another monster tonight if I were you. How was I ever going to get to sleep without my monster? I was surprised to hear more creaking. Under the bed, loud creaking with scratching. I thought no more monsters were going to appear tonight, I said. Sorry I'm late, kid. Whew! It was Gabe. I thought you would enjoy fishing. I thought I would enjoy fishing, but I didn't, he explained. Those fish scare too easily, no challenge at all. You, however, are challenging, my friend. You're almost too old to be afraid of monsters. You keep me on my toes. Ah, toes. A delicious snack. The bed quivered as Gabe's stomach rumbled with hunger. Now, if you don't mind, I'd like to start the evening with an ominous pool of drool. I peeked over the edge of the bed. Green ooze spread soundlessly from underneath. Then the bed trembled as Gabe unfurled his long, spiky tail. He was daring me to guess where he might pop up. I shivered. So, you had some substitute monsters tonight, Gabe said, sharpening his claws on my bedpost. Were you scared? Then Gabe started tapping I could tell he wanted to know if I still needed him. No other monster can scare me like you, I giggled, diving under my covers and pulling them up tight. Through the blanket, I heard Gabe's soft, comforting snorts. Ah, I knew it. We're made for each other, he growled. When my blanket started to slip off the bed, I knew Gabe was ready to eat. Now, if you would please stick out your foot, he said, I'd like to nibble your pinky. I yanked the blanket back up and scrunched my feet in so Gabe couldn't get them. No toast tonight, but you can have this, I offered, pushing a pillow off the bed. I didn't even hear it hit the floor. Gabe was back. The ooze was perfect. Everything was back to normal. I shivered again. I'd be asleep in no time.
Fantastic. Wow. 2 fantastic books. Thank you. You can start your video, both of you, please. Thank you. All right, Jeff, you know, with your book, what I thought about when you were reading it, when they said, don't, whatever you do, don't go to the house on the corner, right? Guess what they're gonna do?
Right.
And you know, and I thought about the whole thing about rumors, right? Everybody in the neighborhood thought the house was haunted and bad things happening there, you know. But in the end, the little lady was pretty nice, right?
Yep. Yep. She turned out to be a lot different than they expected. And I can remember when I was little trick-or-treating, we'd avoid houses too for some reason like that. Scary looking house.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And Mary, everybody needs a Gabe in their life, right?
Everybody needs a little monster under their bed.
Yeah. Now, did you use that tactic when you had, you know, little ones staying over your house or something? Do you have kids? I didn't even ask you that.
I have 3 kids, and my kids never had monsters under their bed.
Okay. No, but
They didn't get afraid. They didn't get afraid at night, but I did. My oldest son happened to think that our cat was a vampire cat, and it frightened him in his own way.
Fantastic, and I love the way you use your voice and change your voice. You put those 10 years in education to use. Very good. Awesome. Awesome. Well, great. Well, guys, thank you all so much for joining us. It's been a real treat reading the scary stories. And when not so exactly scary, you need a monster under your bed. I like the twist on that. But thank you all so much for joining us today. Reading 365 every single day at 11 o'clock. Please join us, everyone. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. And tomorrow is Halloween. So be safe, whatever you do. Play some nice games and have fun. Okay. Thank you, everyone. See ya.
Bye.